Welcome to GLP's 10 out of 10. And today we have with us Iggy Rosenberg. Iggy, or Ignacio, to use his full name, hails from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Currently lives in the state of Utah. Everybody knows him as Iggy, so I'm guessing that Ignacio is just reserved for when he's in trouble with his mum. So, Iggy's been working in lighting and visual design for more than 20 years and holds the position of Director of Business Development at the internationally renowned lighting design firm, LightSwitch. Before joining LightSwitch, Iggy designed and executed large touring shows around the world for a wide range of artists, including Leppard, Janet Jackson, and the Rolling Stones in Cuba, as well as numerous corporate shows. In his time at LightSwitch, Iggy has worked on such far-ranging projects as immersive environmental experiences in Singapore, cruise ship projects in India, as well as numerous large corporate events in the US and around the world. And more recently was part of the team in Saudi Arabia to help bring to life the launch of Ad Diriyah, the birthplace of Saudi Arabia and the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Iggy is a huge technology advocate, always looking for new tools and ideas, as long as they serve the design intent. But he does couple that by saying, if I learned anything when in Argentina, it was to be conscious of budgets and maximizing the potential of what resources are available. Iggy sums up his approach to any project by saying, I really believe in putting in the hard work to make sure they get the best solution that money can buy. And if that means going above and beyond in search of excellence, then so be it. Well, that's a brilliant attitude, Iggy. It's great to have you here. Welcome.
Sure, I'm gonna bring you with me everywhere to just do my intros.
That's right. Excuse me. Presenting the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, there you go. Who's this? Mark, do your thing. Come on.
That's right. That's right. Tell everybody who's here. We're going to start programming, right? So, right. Well,
white gloves, please.
Let's dig straight into it, Iggy. So, obviously, a long and illustrious career so far. What was your first show as a designer?
That was in high school. I was very lucky that my high school had, well, not really a theater program. We just did a show a year. We had a very good director. We would do like Les Mis and the Phantom of the Opera, stuff like that as a high school. And that's how I started. My first gig was the middle school show. Didn't have anyone designing it, so they were like, "Oh, you like to do this lighting stuff?" So they just gave it to me.
Right.
Parkins, very old Parkins, the theater. It was great.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Starting there, it's always great when you can start there and have good collaborators right from early on in your career. That's
yeah, totally.
So for all of those shows, I think everyone's got a little story about, how it might have just gone horribly wrong one time. What's the kind of, not necessarily the names, you can change the names to protect the innocent, but is there ever like one of these, spinal tap moments for you when everything was designed and then it turned up and it literally was just a foot in diameter when it should have been 10 foot?
Well, we've had, of that story, I remember having a drum kit that was built in this gigantic hydraulic, looked like the front of a train, and it was 8 feet wide and it weighed 2,800 pounds, some ridiculous number. And we got into a venue and stagers got around the drum kit and pushed it in, and the thing just went thunk and just got stuck, and we didn't understand why. And then we realized it was the only venue in the world that had a door that was 7 feet 11 inches. We just wouldn't get in, so we had to like put in a forklift with all the sturdiest union people we could find in the back of the forklift to counterweight it and slump it down the stairs of the venue. That was the closest to that.
Okay, so our next question: what's the best advice that anyone has ever given you?
That is a great question. It probably does not come from entertainment. We read a lot here at home and have a lot of mentoring and coaching groups and that kind of stuff. But I think setting big goals has been kind of a revelation lately. I've always been this is where I'm at. I'm gonna set this goal kind of matches where I'm at, instead of set this goals that are 10 times as big as you think they can be. And funny enough, it tends to work out pretty well. It tends to be very intimidating at first, but then when you start breaking down how you can get to that goal, it tends to be much more attainable. So it's been a big thing for us. It's been a big revelation in the household, and it's worked out. It's worked out great.
Right. That's cool. That's cool. So out of all of the different shows and the things that you've worked on, what's your proudest achievement so far?
Um, that is a bit of there's different levels of pride, maybe. There's different things you're proud of. From like, hey, I finally made it. I definitely did the show that we did last year in Saudi Arabia, because it was just so monumental. And it had such an impact to UNESCO and the people of Saudi. And I know that's been a bit of a contentious thing, but we met the people that live there. We've done a few events there, and they were so proud that was getting honored. And it was great to meet them. And kind of in the same thing when we did the things with Rolling Stones in Cuba. The day after the show, a lot of the Cuban people would come up to us and thanked us for being there. And it was so odd, because for me, I was the number 5 guy in the lighting crew or whatever. Like, I wasn't, but it was so good to see that they were it had such an impact on the people. At a personal level, it was joining the Paul McCartney tour, because my mother has a history with going to see Paul. The first time I ever stayed home alone was because McCartney was in Argentina, and my mom was gonna go see the concert. Right. So to get all the way to like being able to have her come to the show and sit in the 3rd row, and I'm part of, that was such a cool, like, sort of closing of a giant circle in my life.
That's amazing.
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
We do get the chance for some fantastic opportunities once in a while.
Very cool opportunity. Yeah, totally.
Little dreams come true.
Yeah.
So between all of those shows, what do you do in your downtime?
Well, currently we sit in our sweats and drink a lot of wine. No, moving to Utah has been a very odd thing. It was the last place I would ever thought I would move to, and it's worked great. We have a ton of things to do. We go hiking a lot. Obviously, we have a ton of space here. We started quarantine cooking a lot, and then realized that we were eating like it was just too much. So we cooled it down on the cooking a bit. But I'm pretty big in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and the gym's opened up here again. So I've been basically being in the gym every day. I'm covered in bruises underneath the sweatshirt. But that's, and my wife is into it as well. So I dragged her in at the beginning of the year. So that's kind of what we do. We have that in common in the house, and it's good. It takes up a bit of our time.
Excellent. It's always good to have some nice kind of hobby that is completely different, that you can de-stress. Yeah. So going back to work then. So of all of it, you've traveled around the world. Obviously, you've lived different places around the world. If there is one, what's your most favorite venue to have done a show?
I don't think I'm probably, I would say almost surely not the only person in the entertainment world to say this, but I'm a big fan of Japan. I lived in Japan for a year. I love Japan. I love the culture. But honestly, Salt Lake City has been a very surprising discovery. We live at the base of the mountains and next to a temple, which is now getting torn apart. But it's been great.
That's excellent. So obviously we're in the middle of this lockdown in various different stages at the moment. So we were wondering, whilst you're during a lockdown, and if a bit of a desert island question as well, I guess. So is there one musical artist or one musical album that you would just absolutely have to have with you? What's the first one you'd save, for example?
That's a very good question. I was not really, I think we go through a lot of music at home. So it's tough. This is going to be a bit of a weird thing, but there's a TV show called Bosch. It's a detective show, and the whole show is based around jazz. And somebody compiled on iTunes a list of all the jazz songs through 6 seasons of the show. And I think that would probably be the thing, because it's like 4 hours of music and it's all amazing. So I think I would probably have to go with that playlist. It's just 4 hours of jazz.
Perfect. That's great. Jazz. Yeah. Jazz. Nice. Always nice and relaxing, I think. Looking back, if you look back towards the teenage Iggy, and you could give him one piece of advice after all these years, what would that be?
There would be two, and they're kind of interrelated, but I never really had a problem with the working hard because I've always loved this industry. But learning about more things than just what's directly in front of you. Like, you know, we started doing stuff in real estate a couple of years ago with Randy, and I wish I had known that earlier. I wish I had learned about money earlier. I wish I had learned about nutrition earlier, you know, all that kind of stuff, instead of spending my nights in college learning the manual for the whole hog too, which, you know, as you do.
Okay, so our next question: if you were able to sit down with any one person, living or dead, and sit down and have a cup of coffee with them, or a glass of whiskey, or you know, smoke a cigar, who would it be?
I'm a big fan of Ray Dalio. I like. I'm not a good investor in that respect. I will never be a fund manager, nor do I understand basically anything. But I like his idea. I kind of devoured his Principles book. His idea of people that can see the world in such a much bigger picture. And I struggle to understand not only how to do it, but how do you even get to that point? You know, of being able to see, you know, I like, he talks about researching, I don't know, inflation rates back in the 1800s, and how that correlates with nature, and you go like, how do you get to that point of being able to see things at that macro of a level to then affect them at such a micro level? And then, you know, he's one of those guys that you think you would be the guy in the suit in a room, but the guy does meditation, and like, I just find people that can do that and that aren't, you know, corralled into a specific stereotype very interesting.
Right. Yeah. No, definitely an interesting character for sure. Yeah. Like you say, to be able to have that global, well, not global, but you know, but such a wide perspective on everything and how it all, trying to find the correlation and the patterns.
Yeah.
All right, time for the final question then. So you get a phone call from your country's Olympic team, and it could be either the summer or the winter Olympic team, right? And they say, right, Iggy, we picked you. Which sport have they picked you for? What's the sport you'd love to try in the Olympics?
I don't think jiu-jitsu is an Olympic sport yet, and I think I probably lose in the first 3 seconds of it. You know, I'm gonna have to pander a bit to my past, but we breed horses in Argentina. My family does, for jumping and dressage. I can ride a horse. I can't jump a horse. But I think it would make my father very proud if I was to be the one that was the one kid that didn't do it, right? I was the black sheep of the family in that respect. So I'd probably be like, I'll get on that horse and jump over the fences.
Right.
Because I think anything else that you give me, I'll probably get injured. Like, I'd love to try to throw a javelin. I'd probably skewer myself somehow. Like, it just. I don't think that's a good idea. Don't give me tools. Don't give me anything sharp or that gets you. Yeah.
Right.
Don't give me anything that can injure myself. But yeah.
You're right.
If I fall off the horse, I fall off the horse. That's fine.
Then it's just you. It's just you. That's fine. Yeah.
It's just me. Yeah. The horse will be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. It's horses know how to get rid of somebody off their back. That would be cool. That I'd like to see. I would. I'd tune in and watch that for sure.
Yeah, watch me fall off the horse. Yeah, I'm sure.
Right. Yeah.
I think if we get a call from my country's Olympic and they're gonna go. You've been nominated, but you have to pay for it, because I don't think Argentina has any money to do an Olympics. But yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, that'd be fun to be. I probably get very stage shy.
Right. That could be very cool. Iggy, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. I'm sure you'll be running off to the next jiu-jitsu class. So
yeah, actually I will. Yeah, in about an hour. Yeah.
if you've got any space for bruises left. So, thanks very much. Wish, obviously, yeah, continued good fortune with everybody at Light Switch. And yeah, I look forward to catching up with you in person soon.